Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back to another Division 2 video. Today, I'm going to be showcasing and breaking down 3 high damage DPS builds for Year 6 Season 3. These 3 builds offer some of the best playstyles, weapons, and gear sets for each setup. They're also very practical and easy to set up for the most part, and like always, I'll be showing you guys some great alternatives in case you don't have some of the pieces. So this includes a super powerful rifle build that deals out an insane amount of weapon damage, an ongoing directive setup with massive weapon damage that makes open world farming on heroic difficulty much easier, then a well-balanced LMG build that uses one of the best exotic LMGs in the game to deal out a crazy amount of weapon damage, helping you destroy anything that gets in your way. So guys, let's get into it. So this first build is a hard-hitting rifle build, powered by the Umbra gear set. Rifles are a lot better now, and combined with the Umbra gear set, it takes the damage that you can deal out to a whole nother level. Now this is a build that's great for mid to long range combat, so if you like to play more aggressive and up close, this may be a downside for you. So for the weapon talent, I'm running Boomerang, but combined with Umbra, you get a rate of fire increase, as well as a huge critical hit damage bonus from the gear set talent. I'm also using the Ninjabike exotic backpack to help squeeze in some extra stat bonuses. So I get like an extra 20% rifle damage and 30% accuracy or something like that. This build is ideal for anyone who enjoys playing with rifles and wants to deal out a very high amount of weapon damage to clear out NPCs quickly. So for the primary weapon, I'm using the SIG 716, which I actually crafted, so it's the replica, but it works just as well as the original one you can get from farming. But the Urban MDR is another great option with a slightly higher RPM. However, I prefer the SIG because of the higher base damage, but I encourage you to try both and see which one you prefer. The Urban MDR is also more stable and accurate. But if you decide to go with the SIG, then I recommend using these weapon mods. So the 552 hollow sight and the Compensator 762, right? So you want these 2 mods for the extra 30% accuracy and stability, okay? This will help tremendously because rifles have a ton of recoil. For the weapon talent, I'm running Boomerang. And for those who don't know, the way Boomerang works is by increasing the weapon damage of your next shot by 40% if a bullet gets returned to the magazine. And this can only happen if you land critical hits. So by landing a critical hits, there's a 50% chance for the bullet to return to the magazine. And when that happens, the next shot fired will have a 40% weapon damage increase. Now for the mask, an Umbra mask rolled with weapon damage, critical hit chance, and a critical hit damage mod. Then for the vest, an Umbra vest with weapon damage, critical hit chance, and another critical hit damage mod. And I'll explain how Umbra works in just a moment, in case anyone's wondering, but for the holster, a 3rd Umbra piece with weapon damage core, and critical hit damage. And for the knee pads, a Fox's Prayer knee pads rolled with armor and critical hit damage. So these are the named Overlord knee pads, and just in case anyone is new here and didn't know, named high-end gear pieces other than the vest and backpack always come with a bonus predetermined attribute. So for the Fox's Prayer knee pads, I get a bonus 8% damage to target out of cover attribute, right? Now for the gloves, a Zuiadoka piece rolled with weapon damage and both crits. And for the backpack, a Ninjabike messenger bag, which comes with all 3 major core attributes, so weapon damage, armor, and skill tier, with a critical hit chance mod. Many of you should already be very familiar with this exotic backpack, especially if you've been watching my recent build videos. It's extremely viable, and it's the reason why I'm able to have only 3 pieces of the Umbra gear set and still have the 4th piece bonus unlocked, as well as the 2nd piece 20% rifle damage bonus from the Zuiadoka set, and 30% accuracy from the Fox's Prayer knee pads. So it basically acts as a slot holder to fulfill the requirement for a brand or gear set bonus, and it can unlock multiple bonuses from multiple sets at the same time. So again, this allows you to squeeze in additional stat bonuses or even talents onto your build where you wouldn't be able to otherwise. So just in case anyone's new and wondering how the Umbra Initiative gear set works, it's actually simple. All you basically need to do is build stacks while in cover. So while you're in cover, you will gain 10 stacks per second up to 50, but this cap gets doubled to 100 if you have the Umbra vest equipped, because for anyone that's new and didn't know, All gear set chest and backpacks come with its own talent that reinforces the 4th piece talent. So the talent for the Umbra vest increases max stacks for the 4th piece talent from 50 to 100, and you will gain 1.2% critical hit damage as well as a 0.4% rate of fire increase per stack. Now on the other hand, remember, Umbra also has an armor regeneration ability. So while you're out of cover and in combat, you will gain 10 stacks per second, capping at 50. Each stack will give you 8% armor regeneration while you're in cover, and that's another thing, you're going to need to leave cover in order to get the damage buff. Then, as you go back in cover to build your stacks, if you've taken any damage, you will be healed by the light, so to speak, which is the second function of Umbra, into the light. Now I'm also running the sharpshooter weapon specialization for the 15% increased headshot damage with rifles and marksman rifles. And also for the My Home is a Castle talent that provides extra armor while in cover. And for the stats, just in case anyone's curious, 54% critical hit chance and 122% critical hit damage. And for the skills, I recommend using the ballistic shield because one of the downsides of this build is the lack of survivability. So it only helps, but feel free to use whatever you prefer. You should be in cover for the most part while running this build anyway, but the ballistic shield helps while you transition from cover to cover. And for the secondary skill, I'm running the booster hive for the additional stability and accuracy. And for the seasonal modifiers, tactical supremacy, fortified shield, reactive reinforcement, and critical recovery. Okay guys, so this next build is one of my favorites. This is an ongoing directive build that deals out an insane amount of weapon damage, and the best part about it is it's super easy to set up. Like, you can literally farm all of the pieces for this build in Countdown. But you may have noticed that I'm using an LMG, right? This is actually the named Carnage LMG, and it comes with the talent Perfect Sadist. But this isn't really an LMG build. So if you prefer using an AR, like the Lexington for example, that will work too, but I'll show you what other weapons work in case you don't have the Lexington. Now, this build does lack survivability, but the high damage makes up for it. So this is one of those type of builds where a great offense makes a great defense, right? So for the primary weapon, I'm running the named Carnage light machine gun with the talent Perfect Sadist. So with Sadist, your weapon damage gets amplified by 35% to bleeding enemies, and amplified weapon damage is a lot better than just having a regular weapon damage increase because it's multiplicative. Now, for the secondary weapon, I'm using the Lexington assault rifle, but if you don't have this weapon, then the F2000 or the Carbine 7 are great alternatives. And for the mask, an ongoing piece rolled with armor, critical hit chance, and a critical hit damage mod. Then for the vest, another ongoing piece rolled with armor, critical hit chance, and a critical hit damage mod. And for the holster, a third ongoing piece rolled with weapon damage and critical hit damage. Then the final piece of ongoing knee pads with weapon damage and critical hit chance. And I'll go over how the ongoing set works in just a moment for anyone who may be new or doesn't know. But for the gloves, a named contractor's gloves for the 10% LMG damage, rolled with weapon damage and critical hit damage. And since this is a name piece, I get an 8% damage to armor bonus attribute. Now last but not least, for the backpack, a Cheska bag with weapon damage and crits, and a critical hit chance mod. And for the talent, I'm running Unstoppable Force. This talent is great, and for every enemy you eliminate, you gain 5% weapon damage for 15 seconds. This stacks up to 5 times, so at full stacks, that's 25% increased weapon damage. Plus the timer resets after every kill, so it's a lot better than having the Vigilance talent, at least in my opinion, because you don't get the negative side effect. And I also get an 8% critical hit chance bonus from the Cheska brand set. Now for the skills, you can either run the Booster Hive for more weapon handling or the Bleed Stinger Hive. I'm running the Bleed Stinger Hive because it can help to activate the buff from the ongoing Directive set. So with ongoing Directive, shooting an enemy that has a status effect applied to them will apply a mark to them. Then by killing a marked enemy, you will get a full clip of hollow point ammo for your active weapon. So whatever weapon that you have equipped will get a full mag of hollow point ammo. And hollow point ammo will amplify your weapon damage by 20% while also applying bleed to an enemy. So this is why Sadist is a great talent to use with this setup, because it also amplifies weapon damage by 35% to bleeding enemies. Plus, you get a 15% status effect and 30% reload speed bonus for having 3 pieces. Then you get the gear set talent for having a 4th piece. And remember, all gear set chest and backpacks comes with a talent that reinforces the 4-piece gear set talent. So with the ongoing Directive chest piece, I get the Parabellum rounds, which increases hollow point ammo weapon damage from 20 to 50%. Now, for the weapon specialization, I'm running Gunner mainly for the Banshee Pulse to activate the ongoing Directive talent. So not only will it stun the enemies, which is great for crowd control, but it also applies a disorient status effect, right? So once you use the Banshee Pulse and apply that disorient status effect, the next shot you land after that will apply a mark. Then once you eliminate that marked enemy, you get your hollow point rounds and weapon damage buff. Now for the stats, just in case anyone's wondering, 57% critical hit chance and 145% critical hit damage on the Carnage, then 53% critical hit chance and 125% critical hit damage on the Lexington. And for the seasonal modifiers, the only 3 that are really viable with this build are the Tactical Supremacy for the active, then for the passives, Critical Momentum and Critical Recovery. Alright, so this third setup is a very powerful Pestilence build using all high-end brand set pieces. So it's very easy to set up, similar to the previous build. And for the 2 talents, I'm running Obliterate and Unstoppable Force. I find that these 2 talents work very well together and add a significant amount of weapon damage to the build overall. Also, Unstoppable Force at full stacks provides 25% increased weapon damage, which can be refreshed after every kill. So with Unstoppable Force, it's like having the Vigilance talent, but without the negative effect of losing the buff after getting hit. So it's a great talent to use for LMG builds. So for the primary weapon, the Pestilence is easily one of the best light machine guns in the game at the moment. And with the Plague of the Outcast talent, hits will apply a debuff to an enemy, dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds, stacking up to 50 times. And whenever an enemy dies with this debuff, 100% of the stacks are transferred to a nearby enemy within 25 meters. Now for the mask, a Lengmo mask with armor and crits, then a Lengmo vest with armor and crits, and the talent Obliterate. So, as many of you guys already know, Obliterate is a great way to add weapon damage to your build. So critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 20 times. And for the holster, a Picaro's holster with armor and critical hit damage, with a bonus 10% weapon damage attribute that always comes with the name Picaro's holster. And for the knee pads, a Walker Harris piece rolled with weapon damage and crits, and I get a bonus 5% weapon damage attribute from the brand set. For the gloves, the named contractor's gloves for the extra 10% LMG damage, rolled with weapon damage and critical hit damage. And since this is a named piece, I get an 8% damage to armor bonus attribute. Now, for the backpack, the name Backbone Bag, which is my third Lengmo piece. So I get a nice 30% LMG damage for having 3 pieces, rolled with armor, critical hit damage and chance, and a critical hit damage mod. This piece also comes with the perfectly unstoppable force talent, which gives you 7% weapon damage per kill. Now, just in case anyone's wondering how to farm for this name Backbone piece, you can get it anywhere since it's in the general loot pool. However, getting it to drop with critical hit damage and chance may be a hassle. So you can try running Countdown for this piece, and if you're having trouble getting this to drop with crits, then you can go for a regular Lengmo bag and roll the normal Unstoppable Force on it. So instead of getting 7% increased weapon damage per kill, you get 5% from the normal talent. Now, for the stats on the Pestilence, in case anyone's wondering, 40% critical hit chance and 141% critical hit damage. And for the skills, I'm running the Booster Hive and Decoy. And for the weapon specialization, Gunner works great with LMG builds and you get a 10% armor on kill bonus. Also, you have the option to run the Banshee Pulse for crowd control if you'd like. But for the global modifiers, I'm running the same ones as the previous build, so Tactical Supremacy for the active, then Critical Momentum, and Critical Recovery for the passives. So, yeah. Oh my god, guys, I wasn't expecting the video to be this long, but that will do it for today. If you made it to the end of the video, then you're truly an amazing person. Like, seriously. Because most people have a very short attention span, which is only getting worse nowadays. Like, most people can't even sit still for more than 5 minutes without getting distracted, so having the ability to stay focused is so valuable, and that's amazing. But anyway, it's never easy putting together build videos like this, so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them for me in the comment section. Because I know for a fact there's information that I forgot to mention or that I may have left out. But anyway, good luck farming, guys, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. And to my channel members, I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and see you in the next video. Peace out.